Welcome back, everybody. You're with us here on Rugby TV. It's great to have you with us. Don't forget, for the clubs that are busy watching us, please send us your videos. And, of course, don't forget to tell us your sponsors. One of the things that we are, of course, looking for is we certainly want to be profiling your coaches, your managers, your players this year. So, where possible, send us also your details of your coaches. Jerome, have all the Western Province players or clubs, I mean, are the guys finished choosing their coaches? I mean, we know that some coaches, they stay for years. But do you think that the clubs, or are there still clubs that have to finalize coaching structures?
There's a lot of clubs that must still finalize their coaches because
Really?
Some coaches move, some coaches stop, some goes to other clubs. But there's a lot of movement, and then obviously you get your loyal coaches that stay for years at the club, but coaches move,
How involved are coaches generally with club management? Some clubs, big clubs, their coaches stay out of club management. But at some clubs we seem to see that the coaches, they get involved, they take photographs, they help with sponsorship, they help with fundraising. I think, is it a question of different levels?
Yeah, it is. I think if the club runs according to how they're supposed to run, they know their roles and responsibilities. But a lot of the time, clubs leave it to a coach. He gets sponsorships, he talks to new players, he decides on where they're going to play. He decides basically everything, and then that conflict comes in the club.
Yeah.
And because whether it's the chairman, whether it's the president, whether it's the secretary, they are not functioning in doing their role. So as a coach, you have to take the initiative because it's about rugby. You need to get your players on the field. You need to get them going. You need to get money. So if they don't do it, it's also good if a coach do it. But then the people that's responsible to do that, if they don't own up, then they can't fight with the coach.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, because what you're telling me really now is that that club and sport management structures have changed. Because 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, even maybe still sometimes today, the coach has the key, the coach goes down, opens the field, organizes the practice session, maybe even transports some of the kids back home. It does. So what you're basically saying is that things have changed.
Yeah, it has changed. You can also see a lot of this clubs, they manage, but they're not successful. Because when do the coach really have the time to go and watch a game, go and sit, go and talk? You have to one-on-one with the players. That's his role.
Yeah.
His role is not to run around.
But on the other hand, we also know that every club must have an elected leadership. Every club must have, I suppose at a club level they call them presidents. It could be a chairman, but a president, a vice president, a secretary, a treasurer. Every club must have that, must have a constitution. So you do have, in today's sports structures, clubs that are formally organized. They've got bank accounts, they've got constitutions, they've got meetings and minutes and executive committees and that. So in theory, what we're saying is that if you've got that structure, your coach should really be sitting separate, focusing on coaching the game.
Exactly. And all that structures that you mentioned now, look at clubs. That's the successful clubs. Whether it's a small club or a big club, but that's the successful club.
Right, so a little bit there on the administrative side. We'll talk to Jerome about some of those things that are happening at Western Province in the minutes to come. But let's go back now to that second half, UCT versus Western Province. Right, there we go. UCT, Western Province, right, before we go into the break, Jerome, UCT, we know what their structures are, they go to the Varsity Cup. When it comes to Western Province like this, you've got a couple of players that have to get back on the park, you've got a couple of players that haven't played for a while, they're getting some running time, but these are all your contracted guys, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all the contracted guys. Look in the past, which work well for us, where especially come to these games, we have a lot of club players joining in and play.
Yeah.
So now they're using a lot of the younger players. So, but I would really like, there's one or two club players who played, but I would really like maybe more to see more of the club guys joining in also.
Yeah. So what happens in a case like this with Western Province? Who coaches the team? I mean, how do you guys? Do one of you guys just go and say, right, get on the park?
No, I know they use the assistant coaches.
Okay.
So I know Samangi was in charge of this game. Next week, if they play, they use one of the other assistant coaches to sort of take the head
because
coach
at Western Province you've got quite a large bunch of guys that are managing across the board, contributing. There are 21s, there are senior players, under 19s, and you've got a bunch of guys there that are able to say, okay, guys, I'm going to lead the thing tonight. I suppose it's also an opportunity for coaches to stay on their toes.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's what Dobson is doing. He's giving his assistant coaches a chance to run the coaching sessions and run the team, which is good. I mean, they also aspire to become head coaches.
Yeah. All right, folks, we're going to take a break. When we come back from the break, we'll carry on talking about what's happening with Western Province Club Rugby. Don't go away. Back in a sec.